One of the most horrifying experiences a parent can go through or a guardian can go through is when they can't find their child. Did you know that over 800,000 children are reported missing every year? That's staggering. I get goosebumps when I think about it. Well, here to join us today is Robbie Calloway, who is a past member of the Board of Directors for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and joining him is Kim McBee from Robin Gourmet Burgers, who've put together this absolutely stunning calendar with all the recipes made by children, and every dollar that is raised from this calendar supports missing and exploited children. And I think it's really important that we realize the value of our children, and the loss of a child can be devastating, but when they're found, it can be absolutely wonderful. Well, thank you, Robbie, and thank you, Kim, for joining us today.
Hi, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. You know, Robbie, this is not exactly a topic that we really want to discuss, but it needs to be discussed. But before we get started, could you tell our viewers what the NCMEC is? I hope I said that right.
Carol, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is basically the place that provides safety information to the people around, to parents and kids around the country. But it's also the place that if your child were to go missing, you want to have the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children looking for that child.
And does that work in conjunction with the Amber Alert?
The National Center was very instrumental in helping create the Amber Alerts.
Now, Kim, you work for Red Robin?
Yes.
And this wonderful book, tell me how it is that you got involved with Robbie and the mission for missing and exploited children.
At Red Robin, we're all about gourmet burgers, and we launched a nationwide search asking kids to come up with the next gourmet burger recipe. And so we put all the top recipes in this cookbook to benefit the National Center. And throughout the cookbook, there are child safety tips that the National Center developed.
Absolutely a great book. You know, Robbie, I'm considered a very outgoing person, and I absolutely love kids, and I love to hug them, and I love to kiss them and talk to them.
That's good.
But I don't want to scare them. So how can we differentiate between, you know, somebody like myself and somebody who might be a threat to our children? How do we get the message across?
Carol, it's very tough, because the last thing you want to do is scare your kids. I met John Walsh when my son was born, and so my children have grown up with me dealing with this issue, dealing with parents of missing children, parents of murdered children. It's very tough. But throughout the time, we tried not to scare them. And you talked about hugging kids and stuff. Keep doing that, Carol. You want to keep hugging kids. You want to keep being who you are. The kids will know the difference in what you're doing and what someone that wants to harm them is doing.
You know, the internet has become real easy access for predators that are out there stalking, looking for children. Are there any tips that you can give our viewers to help us know what to do when it comes to the internet? Are there programs available to track where they're going, what they're doing?
Yeah, one thing you need to do is you need to know what your child is doing on the internet. You need to have that computer in a safe place that you can walk by it at any time and look over that kid's shoulder. You need to have that kid talk to you if anything happens to them that makes them uncomfortable. If somebody online approaches them about meeting them somewhere, that's a dead giveaway that it's a problem. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has a safety program called NetSmarts, and you can go online to get that, netsmarts.org. That's smarts with a Z.
Thank you, and I agree. Communication with our children is so key. Now, Kim, you have been so patient sitting there. Thank you so much. And I love the fact that you have teamed up with the National Organization for Missing and Exploited Children to help bring more awareness to this. And you put this great cookbook together, as we talked about before, about all these gourmet burgers made by kids. Tell me what the winning recipe was.
It was Adriana's Spicy Asian Burger.
So it seems to me that your recipe book encourages cooking with children too.
It really does. We talk about cooking fun. Also, safety tips are throughout, conversation starters for parents. And the top recipes are all in there. Over 56 recipes are in there.
Well, it seems to me that great conversation with our kids happens over cooking and happens over the dinner table and should continue to happen there.
Absolutely.
And I also believe it happens with reading to our children, and that's going to be coming up in just a minute. And I love that our book helps give the information that we need to get our kids on the right track. Robbie, Kim, are there any other tips that you would want to share with our viewers that I might have missed? I know I have a few coming up when we're done this segment.
Well, Carol, one of the things is all parents should have a current picture of their child. Maybe every 6 months take a new picture, because in the rare case that a child were to go missing, that picture is going to be the most single important piece of evidence, or with the law enforcement and what the National Center would want to use.
I know with my local Rotary, we always do fingerprinting with the kids, and I want to let our viewers know that the police do not save the fingerprints. They do it there. You get to take them with you. And that's a good way to keep a record of our children?
That's a very good thing, and the Rotary International, local Rotaries and Rotary International have been very helpful in that issue.
I understand that if you do a cotton swab and save that DNA, that's very helpful?
DNA is very important. DNA is helping us find or close a lot of cold cases.
Wow. Well, thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Kim, for bringing us a topic that we really don't want to talk about, but we need to. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
You know, one of the things that I did with my kids when we were younger is we had a secret password, and it worked. They knew that if somebody came to pick them up and said, you know, your mom sent me or your dad sent me or whoever, we had a special word, and it worked. And I remember the day my girlfriend and I were with our kids and we planned our secret passwords for our kids so that nobody would get them. Another thing, not to repeat myself, but the police do not keep records. Cotton swab of DNA is a great way. You put it in the plastic container. There's DNA kits, I believe Robbie said, that you could get out there that will help you with your children, and just communication. And on that note, we'll be right back.
VIP.